Well, hi, Vicki. Here's the grouping I've been working on for you. The tallest piece is just shy of 6 feet. It might be about 5'10" like me. It could be pedestaled actually a little higher, probably will present at 6 feet because it gets a concrete base underneath it. Of course, these columns are just sitting on the floor in a loose arrangement, and then when they get put in their concrete footings, and there'll probably be 6 different concrete footings in this so that it can be moved and handled and so forth. It doesn't have to be moved with the machine if you group them in individual groupings. Those 3 columns in the beginning or in the middle there would probably each have their own footing and they'd fit together like a puzzle. But there's 17 columns altogether. I toyed with the idea of trailing down to even shorter pieces that just barely emerge from the pebble base. And of course you'll have to imagine this with a pebble at the bottom. The water can rise up above the pebble, and then you lose a little bit of the verticality of the fountain because it has to sit just a little bit lower. But what you get if you let the water rise up above the pebble and the lights are down below the water level, when the water runs down the columns, moves across the surface, that light that shines up through moving water will create a flicker all over your stone walls and all over that area there. So let's take a walk around 360 degrees here, and then I'll get in close too. I sprayed this with a water bottle just to show you the way it looks wet. What you don't get is the way it looks when the water is flowing out of the columns. Of course, these are just sitting on dry on the floor. But it's pretty stone, that's for sure. You just have to imagine water rushing over, and of course you can see videos. We've got a lot of videos posted online, flowing fountains. I got a little bit of a glare there, but okay. Now this first view, that's the view that I consider to be, did I say this, from your front door and through that set of doors that we started out talking about. And so if I come around this way, then we're looking at it through your dining window. Sorry about all this stuff in the middle of the room. There's a support beam in here we can't avoid, and we usually end up clustering rocks around it. There's uneven spacing, staggered elevations. A couple of these columns are just about the same height. There's a couple of them I think are just about exactly 36 inches. And what I do is either present one of those higher than the other in the base, or cut one a little bit off the bottom or the top of one of them. I don't think it looks good to have columns that are exactly the same height. It just keeps it a whole lot more interesting if there's a staggered elevation. So here we are in your outdoor dining area looking through that archway. That's what you see. The pictures that you sent helped me so much, Vicki, to get a feel for your setting there, and I think the design is a lot better than it would have been if I'd carried on what I first pictured. Get in and show you some of this detail. I'd like to take this outside tomorrow if you don't rule this out right away, and show you the color in the daylight. Or maybe just take a couple of the pieces out and give you a feel for it. Again, the look when the water's rushing out of each one of these and running down the sides it's much more kinetic, dynamic looking. This activity and motion and sound and everything. So now we're coming around to where the swimming pool is, but there's no side of this that loses interest. I think it holds up visual interest from every side. If you do decide to have water level rise above your pebble, one thing I've done is I've had columns that come just up to the, not quite to the surface, like an inch below the surface. And then you can kind of create a little bit of a geyser where the water ripples, especially at that point. But imagine if it were in nature, you know, maybe one of them would be below the water level or two of them. So somewhere in the front here, maybe we could have a couple that are down below the water level and the water's bubbling up or pushing up on the surface of the water. Okay, my battery's flashing. I'm going to turn this off and send it off to you.